Do you think the U.S. government or some other government is in possession of something of extraterrestrial origin that is far more impressive than anything we've seen in the public?
I've not seen anything personally, but if I believe the people who I don't think can lie, yes. This is actually one of the most interesting ones I find is this constant message that you're not taking care of your world. Is a story out of Zimbabwe. 50 or 60 children one afternoon in Zimbabwe. It was a well-educated group of white and black children who at lunchtime in the playground saw a craft. And they saw little men. And they all ran into the teachers and they told the same story and they drew the same pictures. And the message several of them got was, you are not taking care of your planet. I think they saw what they said they saw, but I also think they saw what they were shown. I mean, if you go back to the whole notion of, okay, how long has this been around? It didn't just start showing up in 1947, right? There are stories going back, into the 1800s of people who saw things in their farm fields in the U.S. It's in local newspapers from the 1800s. It's fascinating.
You've written about and made the case that we should take UFO sightings more seriously.
The data from the Navy, to me, seem quite serious. I don't pretend that I have the technical abilities to judge it as data, but there are numerous senators at the very highest of levels, former heads of CIA. Brennan, I talked to him, did an interview with him. I asked him, what's up with these? What do you think it is? He basically said that was the single most likely explanation, was of alien origin. Now, you don't have to agree with him. But look, if you know how government works, these senators, or Hillary Clinton for that matter, or Brennan, they sat down, they were briefed by their smartest people, and they said, hey, what's going on here? And everyone around the table, I believe, is telling them, we don't know. And that is sociological data I take very seriously. I have not seen a debunking of the technical data.
Yes.
Which is eyewitness reports and images and radar. Again, at a technical level, I feel quite uncertain on that turf. But evaluating sort of the testimony of witnesses, it seems to me it's now at a threshold where one ought to take it seriously.
But one of the challenges is your eyewitness. One of the challenges is you're essentially an eyewitness account. Like, we don't have good data. We have very limited data of the incident that you've experienced. What can you say about the shape of the thing?
Smooth, white, tic-tac. We don't see, there's no wings, no visible propulsion, no windows, no probes that we could see.
Do you think it's possible that there is out-of-this-world aircraft are in the possession of one of the governments on this earth?
I would say this. I think it's highly possible. Because if you just look at all the sightings, and just look at Project Blue Book. There was I forget how many thousands of sightings. And there's a percentage, it's like 10 or 15% of them they still can't explain. Like our Tic Tac is one of them. The government has come out and said, we don't know what that was. Okay, so if you go, okay, of that 15% that we don't know, and of these thousands, there's still, that 15% makes up a pretty big number. What are the chances that not one of them crashed somewhere on the globe and was recovered?
What do you think of, there's been a lot of UFO sightings. What do you think about those UFO sightings?
The sightings look damn puzzling. They do not look easy to dismiss. The attempts I've seen to easily dismiss them seem to me to fail. It seems like these are pretty puzzling, weird stuff that deserve an expert's attention. My scenario, to make sense, has two main parts. First is panspermia siblings. So panspermia is the hypothesized process by which life might have arrived on Earth from elsewhere. The sun was born with many other stars in the same close proximity, with lots of rocks flying around, able to move things from one place to another. If a rock with life on it from some planet with life came into that stellar nursery, it plausibly could have seeded many planets in that stellar nursery, all at the same time. They're all born at the same time in the same place, pretty close to each other.
Nursery.
Lots of rocks flying around. The prototypical UFO observation is a shiny, big object in the sky that has very rapid acceleration and no apparent, surfaces for using air to manipulate its speed. The claim is that their current strategy of hanging out at the periphery of our vision and just being very clearly physically impressive with very clear physically impressive abilities is at least a plausible strategy they might use to impress us and convince us sort of we're at the top of their status hierarchy. And I would say if they came closer, not only would they risk hurting us in ways that they couldn't really understand, but more plausibly, they would reveal things about themselves we would hate.
It's actually a crime to resist the public. If the public says, I care about this, and you say, no, that's not sophisticated enough for me. I want to do intellectual gymnastics on anti-de Sitter space. To me, that's a crime.
Yes, I 100% agree. Do you think it's possible that out of those hundreds of thousands of UFO sightings, one or some number is an actual sighting of a non-human, some alien technology, and that we're too close-minded to look and to see?
As you said, hundreds of thousands, these are not once in a lifetime events. So it's possible to take scientific instrumentation and explore, go to the ocean where someone reported that there are frequent events that are unusual, and check it out.
Yeah.
Do a scientific experiment. What's the problem? Why not? Why only do experiments deep into the ocean and look at the oceanography or do other things? We can do scientific investigation of these sightings and figure out what they mean. I'm very much in favor of that.
It's been really disheartening to see the U.S. government not invest as much as they possibly could into this whole process. So let's jump to the most recent thing, which is, what do you make of the report titled Preliminary Assessment Unidentified Aerial Phenomena that was released by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence in June 2021. So this was like, okay, we're going to step back and we're going to where do we stand and where do we hope the future is? What do you make of that report? Is it hopeful? Is it...
I see it as very hopeful. Very hopeful. It was becoming so obvious that this stuff was showing up again and again and again around our ships. They just couldn't keep it quiet anymore. Right? And so it's like, we need to do something about it. And Lou Elizondo and Chris and others, to their great credit, found the right angle to talk about this. It says, well, okay, let's say it's not out there. Maybe it's the Russians, the Chinese, or somebody else. We should know about this because we damn sure know it's not us. So that, to me, is an important thing to finally be a little bit more open about the matter.
There's folks who have reported UFO sightings. There's actually, I've recently found out there's websites that track this, the data of these reportings, and there's millions of them in the past several decades, so 7 decades and so on, that they've been recorded. And the ufologist community, as they refer to themselves, one of the ideas that I find compelling from an alien perspective, that they kind of started showing up ever since we figured out how to build nuclear weapons. That we should...
What a coincidence.
Yeah. What do we do with those reports? It's most of the scientific community kind of rolls their eyes and dismisses it. Is it possible that a tiny percent of those folks saw something that's worth deeply investigating?
Sure, we should investigate it.
I feel like there would be plenty of hard to dismiss evidence, and I also, especially this year, believe that the U.S. government is not sufficiently competent, given the huge amount of evidence that will be revealed from this kind of thing, to conceal all of it.
Right.
Would be that
although there's lots of alien so-called alien sightings, right? So there is a number of things you can do. You could just dismiss them and say they're not true, they're kind of made up. Or you say, well, there's something interesting here, right? We keep seeing a commonality, right? We see the same phenomena again and again and again. Also, there's this interesting thing about human imagination. Even if they are, let's not say made up, but misappropriated kind of other inputs, the fact that human consciousness is capable of imagining in contact with aliens, does that not tell us about something about where we are in our position, in our culture, in our technology? It could be that we might go to the outer solar system and find a new type of life that has completely new chemistry, bring these cells back to Earth, where you could say in my hand, on Earth, here's RNA, DNA, and proteins, and look, cells self-replicate. From Titan, we got this new set of molecules, new set of cells, and we feed it stuff and it grows. That, for me, if we were able to do that, would just...
Is there a chance that a foreign government actually possesses, or our government has something that is not from this world, and I'm not talking a meteor, but something that was manufactured in some way that allowed transport or observation? And according to Lou, there's stuff that we can't explain. And I would assume that Lou, who ran ATIP, has seen stuff that he can't openly talk about. Bob is a straightforward, very sane, normal, super smart guy.
Bob Lazar, yeah.
Yes. His answer was, I understand there's an oath, but I felt that the technology could benefit all of mankind and it shouldn't be locked away.
What do you think about all these UFO sightings? So to me, it's really inspiring. It's yet another localized way to dream about the mysterious that is out there.
Yeah. So I've actually been more intrigued by the cultural phenomena of UFOs than the phenomena of UFOs themselves, because I think it's intriguing about how we are preparing ourselves mentally for understanding others, and how we have thought about that historically and what the sort of modern incarnations of that are.
The way we've done government in the past, we tend to think of all new things as potential military secrets, so we want to hide them. And one of the ways that people kind of look at UFO sightings is like maybe we shouldn't hide this stuff. Like, what is the government hiding? I think if there's a mysterious thing, the first instinct should not be like, let's hide it. Let's put it in the closet. The first instinct should be, let's understand it.
Yeah.
And perhaps let's understand it together.
Right. No, I think that's good. And as an astrobiologist, if we, actually want to understand life and make contact, we kind of have to deconstruct the narratives we've already built from ourselves and kind of unteach ourselves that we've learned about aliens, and then reteach ourselves.
In case people don't know, the DoD established a new department to study UFOs called Airborne Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group.
I think there's still a tug of war going on behind the scenes as to who's going to control this. But I do know, though, that money has been set aside that will be used to make things more public.